Welcome, welcome to another live stream aired podcast of Beyond the Veil, an unusual podcast. I'm your host. Today I'm using the moniker in honor of an ancestor. I'm going in under Chief Onunkwa II. And my co-host with the most, bringing you closer and closer, the Black Sun Shaman T. Manuel. What's going on, brother?
Oh, ready to tear them up, ready to tear them up, ready to tear them up, ready to clean out the house. Clean the house first. They say clean the house first. You want the enemy out the house first, so you don't reinfect the people once you clear out the ones outside, you know?
Indeed. So you're chomping at the bit to get at it today, I see. Hey, I'm gonna let you start going in, brother. We got some visuals for you all today. Sorry about that close up. Just trying to adjust seating here. But yeah, man. Where you want to start today, bro?
I mean, we can start anywhere that you would like. I just want them to know, you can't just follow somebody because of color. You know what I'm saying? Because you might get led straight over the cliff into the fire. You know what I mean? So
absolute facts. Yeah. So go on in, brother. You've been kicking off the hype. I appreciate that.
Well, I'll cover Marcus Garvey and Louis Farrakhan real quickly. You know what I mean? Just real quick to get us rolling. So you got Marcus Garvey, honorable. They call him the Honorable Marcus Garvey. Well, he's listed in an organization that's called the Boule. The Boule is an organization of 3,000 Black men who are sworn to protect, under oath, to protect the identity and personage of an elite family member. So Marcus Garvey said that he wanted to return to Africa. When he said this, he collected millions of dollars, which in that time frame is a lot of money. You know what I mean? He collected this from the people, and he went and got a retired naval ship that starts with SS. It's the SS something star. I can't remember the name of it at this time, but that's important. SS something star. That is very important. So he gets the ship. When he gets the ship is not workable. The Black Star. The Black Star. So he gets the SS Black Star. Now, when he gets the ship is in disrepair and he doesn't have enough money to fix it. So he cancels getting them out of here. And then he goes and moves to Europe and lives the rest of his life out in Europe. Okay? So you got this guy you got people who are coming into awareness of shouldn't have their own. They want their own stuff. So he stands in front of them, Black Power, let's go back to Africa. You know what I mean? And then, the Moors conquered North Africa. So when he says go back to Africa, we were already here in this landmass. So why would we have to return back to Africa? But I'm going to leave that there. You know what I mean? And just say that there's an organization called the SS Western World. The SS Western World. Like the Navy ship, SS this, SS that, SS the other, SS. So under that organization comes in the Boule. So when you deal with this guy who led the Honorable Marcus Garvey, who led the melanated people astray and took their money when they didn't have much. There were people selling their homes, giving up everything that they had for this project. So they lost their standing and this money was gone. Another example of a so-called Black leader, okay? Elijah Muhammad and Louis Farrakhan. They brought Islam. I, self, Lord and Master, I sincerely love Allah's mathematics. Well, if you do the history and study of a Moor brought Islam pre-colonial to North America and got Islam from Arab influences within their conglomerate culture, which is a conglomerate Moorish culture. So they come over here, they bring the Islam, and then you have noticeable events in our time to show that this dude is a sellout. And first of all, this is not the opinion of the show. You know what I mean? Let that be.
The
You know
views
what I
and
mean?
opinions expressed by Chief Onunqua II and the Black Sun Shaman today are not necessarily views and opinions of Beyond the Veil / 3D podcast channel on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. By the way, like, share, and subscribe. At
Yes, D.
J3692. Get your supplements, your health regimented through blacksunshaman.com.
Yes,
Back to the regularly scheduled program. No, go ahead.
So you got Farrakhan, who does a Million Man March. When he does the Million Man March, he doesn't organize anything behind the Million Man March. And when people are looking for him to organize, because there are so many people willing to just do whatever he says at that point, because they want to be free, they want some type of reminiscence of freedom or togetherness. They so hungry for it that they looking for him. And he left out of town right after that march and didn't organize anything. But that's not even the worst of the sellout activity. Umar Gaddafi was creating a gold dinar, and he was going to use digital currency to redistribute the world's wealth. And he offered Mr. Farrakhan $1 billion. Now, Farrakhan has openly come out that he doesn't like the devil. He steers you away from the devil. He tells you that the devil is bad and that the white man is the devil. This is his teachings. You know what I mean? So now, with that said, when Farrakhan was offered by Gaddafi $1 billion, he went and asked the devil, could he accept the money? He said, hey, devil, God has offered me, the God Gaddafi has offered me $1 billion. Can I accept it? They said no, that he couldn't accept it. He didn't accept $1 billion, but it doesn't make any sense for you to go talk to the feds first before you try to accept money or move forward in a movement. So after he does this, then we got the next stage of the development. Now, soon after, we get our first black president, Mr. Barack Obama. Okay, Barack, then everybody screaming in excitement for Barack Obama, and then we lose Gaddafi. So shortly after, Farrakhan befriended Gaddafi, got in close with him, talking to him on the cell phone, knows his location, everything like that. After this relationship is established, he turns the information over to the feds, and shortly after turning the information over to the feds, right after that, we see Obama, and Obama goes into Libya and takes this man out. So, that looks like indigenous sellout activity to me. And so those two individuals were our beloved individuals who lead the melanated community. There's one last thing I'd like you to know about the Boule before we move on from this. The Boule feels that they are the ones who are supposed to run the rest of the melanated population. They are the leaders. Everything that's done should be done through them. That's what they believe to be true. So, yeah, this is an example of a Moorish sellout.
Yeah. As we say, the views and opinions, and I can't say that I don't share in that opinion, but at the same time, we're going to do, in all fairness, our due diligence as best we can in the time that we have designated today. Of course,
and in the words
continuations of this discussion. But go ahead.
Oh no! In the words of that one guy who does videos on Facebook, I can't think of his name right now, but he'll say some stuff. Then he'll be like, Look it up, look it up." You know what I'm saying? So everything that you hear on this show,
Yes,
make sure you go
absolutely.
do your due diligence and look it up.
You must. Yes, go and look it up. But we're going to show you some pretty compelling evidence from a page, website that is hosted by a Professor Moore, Dr. Alim Bey. Shout out to Dr. Alim Bey. I don't disagree with everything he has to say. As in, with most of the Moors, there's some sound evidence of some of the things that they speak of. However, we are here to discuss more and more lies that have been spread throughout, especially our community. And we're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to show you where it kicked off at the turn of the last century. And shout
And
out
and then
a mentor of mine, Elder Alfred D. Coward. May he rest in power. You taught me a lot of this. You showed me a lot of this early on, and that's how I was able to find this information, even through Dr. Bay's website. But you were about to make a comment, bro.
I was just going to say the Moor would definitely have some information that may not be available to others because of their indigenous involvement, and even in North America, their pre-Columbian or pre-Columbus interactions with natives, they would have information that related to native tribes and native behavioral patterns that might not be available to others because they stole it. And then after they stole it, and we'll get into this later, they gave it to their wayward children and told them if they ever told the secrets, they would cut their head off. So, yeah.
So let's get to the bottom of this. At the turn of the last century, well, right before, I say he died right near the turn of the last century. But um, this is Saeed Jamal al-Din al-Afghani Uddin Bey Effendi. That's a long name or title. Attribution, as I guess some of the Moorish affiliates might refer to it. But Saeed Jamal al-Din al-Afghani Uddin Bey Effendi, 1838 to 1897, he was a pan-Islamist, a master adept of Sufi scholar and teacher, a Muslim politician and a journalist. He founded a Masonic lodge, the Eastern Star, in Egypt
Mm.
during the mid-1800s. Madame Blavatsky met and was taught by Jamal ad-Din al-Afghan. Who she refers to as Serapis Bey. Now, these are very interesting titles, and we might or might not have time to get into the explanation of them, but you should do your research on who Serapis
Oh, my
Christus
goodness.
before
Oh,
it became Yesu
disgusting.
or Jesus Christ. Okay, Serapis is Oserapis in its origin, Osiris or Asar. Now we're dealing with Greek mixed with what would later become Aramaic and then evolve into Syriac and then Arabic. So if you want to go back and rewind that, you'll get the progression, okay, of the speech. But Serapis Bey, one of the secret chiefs, or ascended masters. Others were Moriah, who is that's the title for Pascal Beverly Randolph. I'll go ahead and show you who he is also today. But Tultit Bey was his other attribution. Kut Humi and Hilarion, all pseudonyms, who purportedly belonged to the Asiatic Brethren or the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor, who were
The
aiding
Boule, the
who were
Boule also call themselves the Council of Chiefs. But go ahead.
yeah, and he was a secret chief, a master adept, ascended master, as they call him, allegedly. But who were aiding? Let me go back. Sorry, the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor, who were aiding humanity to evolve into a race of supermen. The master adept Jamal ad-Din al-Afghani turned up in America around the winter of 1882 to 1883. Al-Afghani is said to have been joined by his disciples or disciple, sorry, chief initiate Mohammed Abdu. I'm going to show you who that is in a second. The two missionaries had come to the United States to propagate the doctrine of ancestral and cultural pride under the banner of Pan Islam, which is meant to ensure the divine teaching of the ancestors are not forgotten among the Moors of North America. They call them Mexim. It is said that the Moorish national divine movement was founded on these teachings, Sufism, by Prophet. Let me go back. Teachings of Sufism by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, Eliza Turner, and Jay.Drewz. Quitman studied under Jamal al-Afghani, who were the parents of the man who would one day establish MHTS, or Moorish Holy Temple of Science, and then the Moorish became the Moorish Science Temple of America. At the hand of Jamal al-Afghani, the Drew family was inducted into the sacred order, known as the Asiatic Brethren, or the Brethren of Purity Brotherhood, or the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor. In his early teenage years of Timothy Drew, he traveled to Egypt and studied among great neophytes of Jamal al-Afghani and Muhammad Abdu. While at Al-Azhar University, Drew Ali came under the influence of Muhammad Rashid Ridi from 1865 to 1935 and Aziz al-Mazri Bey, 1878-1965. Just wanted to show y'all this Effendi. This is what the Beys started out looking like. It's where you got your names from. I mean, hey, you got to start somewhere, right? I get it. But let's go a little further.
They was mad they couldn't defeat the indigenous women. I'm gonna leave that alone.
There's Madam Blavatsky. And you talk about where the science of the devil comes from. Do your research in the Library of Congress. You'll see that she was one of the teachers of W.D. Farad Muhammad, also called Farad the God. So how the God was taught by the devil, I mean, you can reconcile that for yourself. No.
Farrakhan has continued that practice. He lets Scientologist devils teach his students all the time.
My brother, we must not speak on such things publicly. No, but okay. So here is the one they refer to as Pascal Beverly Randolph. Also, they gave you Mariah, or Moria. I don't know how they say it. I'm not a part of that order. So, but okay. Randolph's mother was of Moorish descent. That's an interesting statement. Establishing the earliest known Rosicrucian order in the United States. Pascal Beverly Randolph was an American medical doctor, occultist, and writer. And as we've discussed before, now it's, there's some videos circulating, shout out to whoever putting those shorts out, that a lot of the former medical doctors were actually occultists seeking to justify. I think Candace Owens said it recently too. She pointed out Sigmund Freud was a part of a secret order, and that was his justification for the psychology that he began to implement and institute into the academic world. But he visited Scotland, England, Scotland, Ireland, France, Malta, Egypt, Arabia, Syria, Palestine, Turkey, and Greece. None of those sound like indigenous North American or South American places. But Randolph introduced the principles of sex magic, Tantra yoga to North America. Thanks. Two 20th century occultists and practitioners of sex magic, Theodore Roos of Germany and Aleister Crowley, interesting, of Great Britain, were heavily influenced by Randolph and both organizing the Ordo Templi Orientalis, which I've mentioned time and time again on this podcast.
I would like to place a pin here, just Yaqub. They're talking about they brought sex magic and all of that. I would just like to say that they should be masters in that category, being that was a key component to Yaqub's breeding program.
Well, they are masters. They own the porn industry. So, every time people are entertained and influenced by that particular aspect of society, they're gathering that energy and harnessing it for their magic. So,
Hmm.
thank, you know, shout out to Hollywood or whatever. So, but yeah, this is real interesting. All right. So, ooh, we can continue to go on with him, but we'll just say he also was a teacher of Helena P. Blavatsky. She referred to him as Moriah, one of the ascended masters. Randolph, who traveled Europe in 1854, and he met occult magician Eliphas Levi. He's not famous, not at all. In Paris or Paris, Yarker met Pascal Beverly Randolph. He was initiated by a secret priestess of the Ismaili Muslims.
Isn't Paris where all of those people died from the Black Plague, and
Hey,
then
hey, now, hey. That's another show, brother.
oh,
Eliphas Levy,
oh, okay.
Paris, Yarker met Pascal Beverly Randolph. Yeah, Ismaili Muslims. Yarker passed on the tradition of the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor. So now you need to know that all of your leaders within these movements are involved in these ritualistic orgies. I just,
Mhm.
allegedly, by their own words and the account of history in the tradition of the lines in which they follow. Because if you ask them more what their pedigree is, oftentimes they're not going to give you a genealogy. They're going to
They're gonna take it back to Arabia. They're gonna give you an Arab. They claim to be indigenous, but if you ask them for pedigree, they're gonna give you Arab pedigree. They're gonna give you Arab pedigree.
of
They're not
course.
gonna tell you. They're not gonna tell you their grandmother's name or their great grandmother's name or their great great grandmother. They're gonna say something like Abin Yabin Kibin Sabin Jibjob from from Arabia, Arabian Nights. I never mind. I was about to say Arabian Nights, the Den of Thieves. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna take you back there. You know what I mean? But
Yeah. Now I'm going to give you something you and I were just talking about in this account of his life. We're going to go down here to the conclave was opened up by Supreme Grand Master Eliphas Levi in due order at the behest of the Supreme Hierarch, gave up his seat as Supreme Grand Master of the Supreme Grand Dome. And y'all can research all this on your own what those things are. Randolph was inducted before the altar of the floor de lis and took the oath of both L'Ordre du Lis and as Supreme Grand Master of the Supreme Grand Dome. I don't speak French, so I apologize if I butchered that. After taking his seat, the grand ritual was performed. He stepped down from the chair, handed the wand to Count Giannotti, who proceeded to recall Supreme Grand Master Levy to his seat, and the proper officers proceeded to initiate Dr. Randolph into his office as Supreme Grand Master of the Fraternitas Rosae Crucis for the Western world, North, Central, and South America,
oh,
and
for
the
the what?
Isle Western
For the
world,
what?
Western
Western
world.
world.
Yeah, North,
Hmm.
Central, and South America, and the Isles of the Sea. Essentially, he was the supreme grand master of all the Rosicrucians in the world, i.e., head of the Illuminati. This
So so so.
this mixed man right here, whose mother was Moorish.
Oh, like WD.
Hey, now you're an all-star. Get your game on. Go play. So we see who's the face, right? We see the
Hmm.
face of white supremacy, and they're fair skinned, so I'm not trying to pick on them because of that uh, coincidental fact. But now let's look up Abdu, who was said to be the master of Al-Afghani. Muhammad Abdu, Nile Delta, 1849, Alexandria, July 11th, 1905 was when he was deceased. He was an Egyptian jurist. This seems to be a common theme, but but I thought the Egyptians were black Africans. Uh, T.
I was gonna say, don't they don't look like Africans to me, but yeah. Mm.
What Donald Trump said? They don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like Indians to Indians. So yeah,
Yeah.
but in fact, whew, all right. He was a jurist, Egyptian jurist, religious scholar, and liberal reformer, regarded as the founder of Islamic modernism. A book titled Islam and Liberty regarded Muhammad Abduh as the founder of the so-called Mutazilism, Mutalism, Mutazilism, I guess, Mutalism. He was educated by a private tutor and a reciter of the Quran. A reciter of the Quran. Not a scholar, a reciter, but he became a scholar. When he turned 13, he was sent to the Ahmadi Mosque, which was one of the largest educational institutions in Egypt. He enrolled at Al Azhar in 1866. Abdul studied logic, philosophy, and mysticism at the Al Azhar University in Cairo. He was a student of Jamal al-Din al-Afghani. Sorry, I said that in reverse. I meant to say it the way it says here, but I said it backwards. Forgive me. A philosopher and religious reformer who advocated pan Islamism to resist European colonialism. Interesting. Under Al Afghani, sounds like some CIA crap. You know what I'm saying? Under Al Afghani's influence, Abdul combined journalism, politics, and his own fascination in mystic spirituality. Al Afghani taught Abdul about the problems of Egypt and the Islamic world and about the theological achievements of the West. In 1877, Abdul was granted the degree of Alim. Interesting. The degree of Alim. Very interesting, right? Let's see
I,
if
I would I would like to point out that he established Eastern stars, and
his master
Mesa.
did. His master teacher,
His,
Aleph Ghan. Yeah.
he established that. I just would like to point out that a very interesting point. If you ever look at a Shriner, which you got to make it to the 32nd degree, and then you'd be proceeding into the 33rd degree. When you get there, you'll get a Shriner's cap. Okay, the Shriner's cap. Guess what it is, Jay?
A fez?
A fez.
A
The same.
tarbouche? The real that oh that's no, I'm sorry, that's the wrap, the turban. It's yeah, the fez. Yeah.
Yeah, they wear a fez, and then on the fez, there's an interesting depiction that they have on the fez. It will be a melanated, we'll say black for now, just to meet the audience where they are. You know what I mean? So they have a black pharaoh on the Shriner fez, and the black pharaoh has a sword in his hand. So this means that according to the Shriners, this means that if they ever tell the secrets that are being revealed to them, then they're going to get their head cut off from their shoulders. So interesting to note, if this is on the cap and there's a melanated pharaoh and this is an all-white organization, and you're living in fear of telling the secrets because you'll get your head cut off by a melanated pharaoh, it definitely sounds like Moorish leadership.
So I agree. But let's dig deeper, and this is really quick. In his articles, he criticized corruption, superstition, and the luxurious life of the rich. He was exiled from Egypt in 1882 for 6 years for supporting the Urabi revolt. Research that. He had stated that every society should be allowed to choose a suitable form of government based on its history and its present circumstances. Later that year, he joined his teacher Jamal al-Afghani in the United States. Abdul often quoted, "I went to the West and saw Islam, but no Muslims. I got back to the East and saw Muslims, but not Islam." Abdul spent several years in Lebanon, where he helped establish an Islamic educational system. In 1884, he moved to Paris, France, where he joined Al Afghani in publishing The Firmest Bond, Al Urwa al Wutka. I don't know how to say it, but you can see it there. An Islamic revolutionary journal that promoted anti British views. Abdul visited Britain, Also visited Britain and discussed the state of Egypt and Sudan with high-ranking officials. There's the information about Muhammad Rashid Rida. He's also a student, I want to say, of Al-Afghani. And we see this succession to Aziz Ali Al-Masri Bey. This is where you get your bays. So now we see a picture, interestingly enough, of Eliza Turner underneath his information. Pure-blooded Washita, Tunica. And Drew Quitman, full-blooded Cherokee. Looked like a brown-skinned, deeply melanated, and lightly melanated colored person, or AKA American Indian. Now, here's a picture of some of the masters together. I want to say that's Rabbi Ford. That's down here, which I can't really draw a circle, but with the Jewish-looking garb on. But then we move. Yeah, there we go. Ford, Wentworth. That might have been Wentworth. Matthew, rather. Wentworth, Arthur Matthew. But all of them were a part of the same orders.
Oh, notice his fez doesn't have a pharaoh holding a sword on it. Go down one.
Oh, we're going directly to him.
Yeah.
Because we're going to tie in, we need to tie in for them the shrine, what we're looking at, and what's being called Moorish, and what's being referred to as Egyptian. And I would just like to add this, because we're going to probably have to build on this at another day in time. But the term Egypt, we were always taught when I was raised in the Christian church that the term Egypt in the Bible referred to the meaning house or land of bondage. So you have to understand that bondmen and bondwomen would buy the bond of criminals, or those who were alleged criminals, from other nations, and then they would bring them via sailboat or whatever means of transportation they had access to or ownership of. They would get insured, so if they took any losses of life or of limb or of mobility on their bondmen, of the ones they held the bonds of, male or female, child or adult, then they would get, recoupment for the loss. So long story short, we're going to go into this real quick. As you can see, Dr. Suleiman Mohammed, also called Dr. Prince de Solomon Abdul Hamid Suleiman, allegedly he was Egyptian, it says. Allegedly, because he's darker than the other ones. Yeah, I said it. Recognizing that at the time, Sudan was officially part of Egypt. He was an Arabic speaker. Not an Egyptian speaker, not a speaker of Nubian languages or Cushitic language. It says Arabic or Arabian. As the 1922 newspaper article describes Suleiman, he worked as a minister, i.e. a promoter.
You're getting it. I hope they're saying that the Arabic, not just influence, just all up and through there. You know what I mean? So I don't see no Berber culture being shown.
I don't see any Tuareg. I don't see any Amazigh culture.
I don't see that. So if they claim that to be their origin, why are they talking all this? Anyway,
let's go along. Let's go along and further on, and we'll see here some other things illuminated. Okay, so he worked as a minister, promoter of religion. He had immigrated at some point before his October 1909 appearance, possibly in 1908. Now, what? It seemed like some Divine Nine significance, but let's read further. Yeah, there has been founded a 1906 reference to a Black Baptist named Reverend Dr. P.D. Solomon from 1906. But whether this is the same figure as Prince de Solomon is unknown. See Colored Baptist, The Sun, Baltimore, June 10th, 1906. 1906. 1111906 was when I want to say Alpha Phi Alpha
Mm.
Fraternity Incorporated was founded in the United States of America. The name of Suleiman's movement was the Canaanite Temple. Timothy Drew, Professor Drew, later known as Prophet Noble Drew Ali, was a co-founder, excuse me. Timothy
Mm.
Drew met him in Egypt and persuaded him to come to America. In the front page article, this man of Afurakan, African descent was depicted wearing a fez, and it was reported that he had been proclaiming his movement to be both Islamic and Masonic. I'm sorry,
Mm.
Moorish, right? No, to be both Islamic and Masonic, a Mohammedan
Mm.
masonry in quotation, and spoke of his mystical, sorry, and Egyptian connections. According to Martin Bernal, who was an author, French author, very good author, Masons saw their religion as Egyptian, their signs as hieroglyphs, their lodges as Egyptian temples, and themselves as an Egyptian
See,
priesthood. This is out of Othello's Children in the New World by Jose V. Pimenta Bay, PhD. Dr. Suleiman communicated to the group's head, Caesar R. Blake Jr., his demand
we're
for
a
the
table.
African American Shriner community.
I need a table to flip.
Oh, yeah. A need or his demand for the African American Shriner community, known as the Ancient Egyptian Arabic Order, Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, AEAONMS, to come under the protection of what he called the Mecca Medina Temple of Ancient Free and Operative Masons from 1 to 6 degrees, the true shrine. As you can see, here's an article. It's kind of hard to read because of the gray tint, but it's interesting. I'll read you the title. There are no true Shriners among either colored or white Americans, asserts as a necessity the oath coming from Mecca or Alpo, Arabia, and adoption of Muslimism, swear by the beard of the Prophet. In August 1922, he attended the African American Masonic Convention held that month in Washington, D.C. At the convention, he formally presented himself as the leadership of the main faction of the African American Shriner community, but they weren't being called that in 1922. So who are you talking about? But I mean, it's implied that he's referring to people like you and I, right? T?
Yeah, but we were here, so I
Right.
don't.
Yeah. I mean, we knew we were American Indians reclassified as Negroes and colored folks,
Mm-hmm.
but that
Mm-hmm.
says African Americans. So it's really
Mm-hmm.
interesting. So we're talking about a bunch of people like Dr. Suleiman, I guess, um, came over here from Egypt, but spoke Arabic. So the Suleiman communicated the group's head, Caesar R. Blake, his demand for the AEAONMS to come under the protection of what he called the Mecca Medina Temple of free and operative Masons,
Did
1 to 6
did
degrees.
you know the caliphates had militaries
Mm-hmm.
that the Moors could make use of?
Yeah, absolutely. He fought in the Crusades.
Mm, mm.
Yeah, Holy Wars over the
So
Europeans' money and treasures.
so those Moors just went from a hunchback to having all the white girls and wealth they could get, huh?
See, you said
Oh,
that.
sorry.
You said that out loud. You said that out loud. Wow. Though he gave no date for its Journal of Race, Ethnicity, and Religion, Volume 2, Issue 13, issue the 13th of September 2011. Because of conflicting reports, it is unclear as to whether Blake was present in Washington, though it is almost certain that he was not. Incorporation, the news report, which contained a picture of the man who clearly looked to be of African descent, indicated that he was an Arabian. So yeah, I mean, historically, the true Arabs looked like Dr. Suleiman.
Hmm.
That's the truth of the matter. As you research, you'll find that whomever
What was Mansa Musa? Was he a Moor?
allegedly, but I mean, he was king or emperor of Mali. Yeah,
Hmm.
Mali, which is West Africa, which
Oh.
is which is where the Moors did have a stronghold
Hmm.
and did build Timbuktu and
Hmm.
uh, yeah, and a university there, and then they also they built I guess you could say a companion university of sorts in Salamanca, Spain.
Hmm.
I think it might be
Hmm.
in. I have to look in and see what city is in. It might be Seville, but I could be off. But yeah, it's called Salamanca. And then Timbuktu was in Mali. So where was I?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, he said he was an Arabian. Okay. By the end of the month, Suleiman had written a letter to the New York World newspaper, providing more information about his background. I, Abdul Hamid Suleiman, of the city of Khartoum, Sudan, Egypt, a Mohammedan by birth, master of the Quran, have pilgrimaged to Mecca 3 times, and thus become an eminent high priest and head of all Masonic degrees in Mecca, Arabia, from the
You-
first to the 96th degree. Am now in the United States for the purpose of establishing the right of the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine, and I am here to answer all questions relative to these degrees until I return home to Mecca to enroll the names of the true Shriners.
what is Mecca? Is the
I mean,
place of the rock there?
that's where you're talking about the cube?
Yeah, the cube.
Yeah, I mean, that's where they placed, I mean, it was already there, allegedly. The You're talking about the Kaaba,
Yeah, the Kaaba. Yeah,
which
yeah. So
which
he went to the
interest
Kaaba three
it's
times to get his authority.
yeah, and it's interesting because like Kaaba, right, is Ka and
Hmm.
Ba, and you got all these Egyptians speaking Arabic now, but the word Kaaba clearly comes out of a Medu or well, I'm not sure
Mm.
if there's another proper wording for the language of the original
So those are
Egyptians.
different cultures then.
I mean, this is
One
kind of yeah,
one is
it's interesting,
indigenous,
right?
one is indigenous to the landmass,
And one
and
is
one is a traveling Moor, I mean conqueror, traveling group of conquerors, right?
you can see this right, follower of
Hmm.
Mohammed, not Mohammed, but Mohammed seeks Negro converts. New York, July 15th. Dr. Abdul Hamid Suleimani, native of Arabia.
No, no,
Not,
no,
not wait, wait. Now he's a
they're the
native.
five civilized tribes. No, Jay, no,
No,
that's
no, no.
not what
But
the
he's a
Moors
native.
say.
He's a native of Arabia, though now instead of Egypt. But and he's said to have had the high priest at been the high priest at Mecca for several years.
No, no, no,
Has
the Moors say that they were indigenous to North America, that they're the tribes. You
they
know,
be
they're the tribes. So this couldn't be. This couldn't be. This
no,
must
no,
be
no. They
this.
became native to North America somewhere around the late 1800s, like all these articles are showing.
Oh, so the
Mhm.
tribes that were here before them, they couldn't claim them until they became
Well, I mean, they do
civilized.
claim them because I didn't go to this part of the website. They can check out Dr. Bay's website. If I see you traffic, I guess God bless you and you're welcome. But nonetheless, they call them the Ben Ishmael tribe, and they're saying that they were in Indiana, which I mean, Indiana is like land of the Indians, and then Indianapolis, of course, is the metropolis for those indigenous people, and of course, they are associated with the
Well,
Mississippian people by blood birth. They're connected to like people like the
wait.
Choctaw and the Chickasaw
So
who are down
so
in Tennessee. I mean, those lands kind of run, right
so they
above
were
each other.
already here, but they had
No,
to
no.
come from Egypt to get their establishment here.
No, what it is they have to claim some type of blood quantum tie in order to claim birthright not just
Oh, that
citizenship,
makes sense.
but birthright origins to have claim to land. But it's just interesting because they just seem to want to take people as real estate by paperwork that would
Yeah, yeah.
give them,
They they're
conservatorship
known
or, you know.
they're known for raping all around the world. I mean, not rape. Grape,
Grapes and jam.
grapes. They're grapes. They're known
Mhm.
for that behavioral pattern. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Behavioral pattern
I am
all
not
around the
familiar.
world.
I am not familiar with that.
Oh yeah. They intermingle with everybody. The everywhere they went,
They were
they
just
was
smooth.
just
They were smooth, long-legged Mac Daddies. I'm sorry, that's Jesse Jackson might refer to them as that. But yo, anyway, like he called us African Americans, he might call them smooth Moorish Mac Daddies or something. I don't know, but
So if they were trying to intermingle their bloodlines into places that they were not, then that would be the reason that they were going around being all cool Mac daddies. You know what I'm saying? And intermingling themselves in all of this culture. Now they keep saying that we were in original here and we were original there and we were original there and we were original there. You were admixtures there by force. Stop that foolishness.
so right. So the word convert, right? This little caption: followers of Mohammed seeks Negro converts, and it says that he had inaugurated a movement for spreading Mohammedanism among the Negroes of the United States. Muslim groups have been started, one of them at Newark, where a temple has been established. The Mohammedans in New York hope to construct a mosque here. Dr. Suleiman says he's bringing into closer religious harmony check this out, the Negro, Turkish, and Syrian Muslims. So
Mm.
Suleiman told the reporter that he was aware of the so-called white Shriners attempts to sue AEA-ONMS in order to prevent them from having their own separate Shriner organization. And Suleiman was arranging to receive the Negro Masons and Shriners into his Islamic Masonry. He insisted that the so called Negro Shriners did not have an authentic Masonic charter. But didn't they get their charter from the Queen? If you research it, Prince Hall was chartered by the Queen of England. They
Mm.
petitioned her. She granted the petition. And so they had their first lodge in Boston. That's the history as it goes. Prince Hall. That was his name. Interesting. So, I mean, the thing was called African Temple number 7, if I'm not mistaken. But he was of, I want to say it was like Narragansett or Pequot, whatever tribes would be associated with Massachusetts, which is also an indigenous word. And I would think that his mother or father, one or the other, if not both, were of later called Negro descent, but formerly known as American Indian. But okay,
So it
so
is extremely illogical to say that they were bringing Arab culture to their indigenous people.
that's in
That
fact what
just
they were doing. Yes,
hmm,
to make us
hmm.
more Arabic and African, so more their what they consider Semitic, Asiatic, etc. They're yeah.
Wait, so when you sign up with them and you put your UCC one with theirs, does that mean they have access to your trust?
Of course, that's exactly where I was getting at with the conservatorship comment. I mean, when you take someone else's estate into yours to establish, a new branch of the federal government, basically under like things like the Bureau of Indian Affairs. When you look into the acts that brought those
Where my
agencies and
where my
offices
table?
into being, that's what's occurring. You're basically just being co-opted. You're being absorbed, like Rome would do nations they conquered. But yeah, he
I ain't
insisted
have
that the
I
so-called Negro Shriners did not have an authentic Masonic charter, but he would now make them authentic by virtue of his authority. as eminent high priest to grant a charter in a masonry, which he declares to be ancient and widespread throughout the Islamic world. Suleiman said
Okay.
the American Negroes would be allowed into his group on two conditions. Are you listening, y'all? That they vow by the beard of the Prophet Muhammad that they will live according to the moral code of the Quran,
Whoa.
becoming Muslim Mohammedans, as one newspaper described it, and that they will pay to Mecca through none but Suleiman a proportion of their lodge dues. Suleiman presented his credential as high priest and Masonic authority, signed by Hassan Hussein, Grand Sharif of Mecca. Grand Sharif of Mecca. The reporter described this patent. It was a nice sheet of white paper, about 2 feet by 3, with a field of blue sky down the center, which ran a wide column of sprawling characters bearing a ragged resemblance of the Arabic lettering in the Quran. The borders were decorated with 3 camels on one side and 3 pyramids on the other, and various symbolic
How
stones.
many times did Aram Habib get hit over the head?
Three. Three. Right.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Mecca, Arabia. Okay, so it says pyramids on the other and various symbolic stones, incense pots, beehives, square and compasses. At the top was the English lettering Mecca, Arabia, and below it AF and OM, which was explained as for standing for ancient, free, and operative masonry. Isn't that what Louis Farrakhan is a part of?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As for
Mm-hmm.
Islamic masonry, Suleiman informed the reporter that it pervades the whole Mohammedan world and controls both religious worship and civil government, that the titles of the order given with the sharifs at the highest. Furthermore, these titles will be open to American Negroes who join, not are of birth, join. Blake, for his part, did not deny the existence of Islamic masonry, but insisted, just as the founder of the so-called Negro Shriner movement, John G. Jones, had before him, that so-called Negro Shriners were not Muslims and would not be willing to convert. American Negroes are Christians. I'm going to go ahead and stop there because I know you said you got some things to do, but yeah, check out Dr. Alim Bey. I mean, Dr. Alim Bey is at least being honest. I got to give it to him. As far as his perspective on things, I don't necessarily agree, uh, but no shade or no hate towards the brother because at least he does research, and at least he presents something discernible, intelligible, and
Oh,
readable,
oh, oh!
legible
You know when you
to
encountered a Moor who's pissed and can't hold their weight and don't want to share, and then they get to telling you, "I'm gonna cut your head off. I'm gonna fight you. We gonna get physical in this mug." And I want to say, you know what? Y'all are known for that type of behavioral pattern, that type of killing, stealing, and destroying. Y'all are known for that type of behavioral pattern. So when you get to acting like that, I know that you're expressing your culture, and it don't bother me one bit. But I also know that you a lion with no teeth. You a snake on your belly. So I ain't worried about you.
indeed, indeed. Likewise. So yeah, I was looking at an article we discussed, but I know you got to get moving soon here. But I just want to show this to the audience real briefly, just so they can see the years, because sometimes when we talk to those of Moor or Mur ancestry, as they claim, they don't show a pedigree, they can't display a pedigree, and then they refer to things and they don't look at the dates at times. Some of them are very astute when it comes to dates, so I'm not generalizing, but this says Smyrna Press, the 1st of January, 1896, and it says a true story of the Delaware Moors. And I've heard, some of them try to take it back to the 1700s, 100 years earlier, 120 years earlier, time to Washington, George, that is, the first president of the United States Corporation. But it's
Wait, you talking about the
interesting.
one with the Moorish flag in the background? The
Correct.
U.S. corporation with the Moorish flag? They be putting the Moorish flag in the Oval Office.
Right.
That dead corporation. Oh, okay.
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's by name it's replicated from Casablanca, which would have been one of their strongholds in Spain, right? In the Spanish language, right? Which borrows over, I want to say over five, if I'm not mistaken, it borrows over 500. It's either 500 or 5,000 characters from Arabic to make up the Spanish
mm.
language. So I mean, so we're just looking at Latinized Arabic for the language
Please.
of Spanish, and I mean, so I can't take away from the Moorish contribution to linguistics, but these were for countries that later became colonizers of other lands, and they were always at the behest or the forefront of those colonial efforts,
I
right? So
almost
why
said
would it be
brood
any
of
different here?
vipers. You synagogue of Satan.
But if you guys can see this, if you can't, let me try to blow it up a little bit more. This article is from 1896. Okay. I'm not going to read it out loud. Take a second to look at it.
And then I just want to say we're going to do part two of this for sure. And then after we're done with dealing with the Moor in the house, we're going to deal with. No, I ain't even going to tell you. I ain't even going to tell you. We're going to deal with the real issue in a show, and we might even call it the real issue. But the Moors follow their mama.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. You know what? Heck, I'm going to read this part out loud. You got a second, brother, or you got to roll?
I got a robot. I will just, go ahead, go ahead.
One hardly knows on stepping from the train that there exists such a colony as the Delaware Moors, in and about Cheswold, and it is only by assiduous questioning, a little personal exploration, that at last he is brought face to face with certain unmistakable signs that shows that these people have made this place their own, made this place their own. A short walk to the end of the town soon tells the story. The Yaller Man, as he is called, is so in evidence, and before you take many steps, you begin to find that he is pretty numerous, tills the soil, conducts business, and carries on trade with his fair brethren, much like the members of any other civilized colony. Should you engage him in conversation, you will find that the tone, together with the gesture and carriage, are of a race different from the colored people of the neighborhood. Should you desire to know aught of Cheswold and of the Moors, he will gladly tell you, for every member of the tribe seems to be well acquainted with its history. The town is a little collection of two or three storied frame houses, with here and there a really pretentious dwelling, all clustered about Central Avenue. The railroad runs through the eastern verge of the place, and on either side are comfortable dwellings inhabited by working men, or in the case of one of them, by the pastor of the modest little church. Your Moorish friend will point to it from where he stands. It is the first yellow house from the grocery store on the main street, directly opposite the canning factory. Okay, basically they're talking about some families in Delaware. These are not people of the Lenape, which a lot of the Moors I've heard claim were the Delaware Moors, right? Um,
No,
but he
they
is a
even went into that article when that article that you're looking at when we read it early. They didn't have they tested their genetics. They don't even have no Negro is what they used in this article. No
right.
Negro markers.
Yeah, no Negro markers, and they appear ready to fare. They don't look like the people who are originally from there. Okay, but if you read this article, it's very interesting, very enlightening. So yeah, and then there's a connection to the word Melungeon. I'll give you that. Okay.
And we will with next go round we will continue because there's more. Pun intended.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we're gonna get into some more of the religious aspects. Even going to get into like where Islam, Christianity, and Judaism were borrowed from directly. Some people would use the word stolen. I'll be a little generous and I'll use the word borrowed. But nonetheless, it ain't what you were told it was. It's not from where you were taught it was, and it doesn't translate the same once you know that. But hey, this has been Beyond the Veil.
Look, right before you get out the house, right? You about to finally make it out of your enemy's house, and they send the Moor in there. Hey, Black Power, brother. Black Power. Join the Moors. Black Power, brother. We in this together, brother. No, we not. Stop lying. All right. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
He said it, and I agree. No, but yeah, thank you for joining us. Like, share, and subscribe. You got about 24 hours or so, maybe less. It'll be behind the Patreon, on our Patreon. Um, yeah, you can go ahead and check us out at what is it? Splitting the Veil on Patreon. We're splitting the veil, Beyond the Veil podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe. And the outro.
Peace.
Peace.